The Brandon Peters Show may contain explicit language and detailed plot points. For more information on the show, stay tuned to the end of the episode. And now, here's Brandon.
Welcome back to the Brandon Peters Show as we close the week with a song. And, of course, this particular video is part of the
summer of 82 at 40.
This is part of the music video series returning from the pits of hell, the pentagram circle, portal that opened, and the Saturday Evening Post. He created Sparkshooter, and he writes for Graphic Policy. Troy Brownfield.
Returning champion.
All right. So this week we're talking about Love's Been a Little Bit Hard on Me from Juice Newton, coming from her album Quiet Lies, which also featured her hits Break It to Me Gently and Heart of the Night. This song was written by Gary Burr, who has produced hits for other big name artists. Reached number 7 on the Billboard Hot 100, number 4 on adult contemporary, only number 30 on country. The song landed her a Grammy nomination for Best Female Pop Vocal Performance. Troy, who did she lose to?
Best Female Pop Vocal Performance 1982 was, damn. I kind of want to say Melissa Manchester, but maybe not.
Yes, You Should Hear How She Talks About You. Also nominated were Laura Branigan for Gloria, Olivia Newton-John for Heart Attack, and Linda Ronstadt for Get Closer. It was her second year in a row nominated and losing the previous year for Angel of the Morning. She did win the same year that she lost to Melissa Manchester for Break It to Me Gently in the Best Female Country Vocal Performance. So she did walk home with a Grammy, but just not in the pop one. I did find it funny that at the same time, we had 2 J Newtons. We had Newton-John Olivia and Olivia Newton-John and Newton Juice. But kind of interesting. The director of the video we're going to talk about, unknown. Troy?
That's bizarre to me. I tried.
There's so much lost history with music videos. I've talked with recurring guests of the show, Mike Vanderbilt, that I'd love to do some sort of like seek out documentary of like women that appeared in music videos, prominently in music videos, because we'd done a Cheap Trick video for I Can't Take It. And there's a woman in a wedding dress. She's the star of the video. No idea who she is. Know where she comes. Can't find it. There's so many people from videos that just gone.
Yeah, it was kind of a revolutionary step when they actually started putting the director on videos. And if I'm not mistaken, I think BET did it first before MTV added them. That's something historically we'd have to check. But I really do feel like we'd watch, videos. They would have the original credit was, of course, song, album, and artist, and then label. But then I'm pretty sure BET started adding director.
Okay.
We did.
Well, BET, I mean, the rap videos and stuff would have people, big name people, so that would go on to like do films at the same time. Granted, we had Fincher and stuff, but they weren't known at the time. But we had, people switching up there. I got producers. We have Kevin McCormick and Michael Naismith, who produced this. Naismith, of course, one of the Monkees.
In retrospect, I wouldn't be too surprised if Nesmith directed it, given the sense of humor of the video. I mean, that's
true. Yeah,
that's Monkees-esque.
Right. No, it's one. Yeah, very Monkees-esque. He would go on to executive produce Repo Man 2 years after this too. So he was getting in the business. But now you say that, I wouldn't be surprised if he was. Yeah, they just didn't hand out the credit or something. It was just producer driven, because we have McCormick here, who was the producer of Saturday Night Fever, that really wild Michael Biehn movie, The Fan, Hardball, the Keanu Reeves one, the Arthur remake, Dr. Sleep recently. He did that, The Way Back, and In the Heights. And coming up, he's producing Elvis and Wonka. So this guy is
long-term career of a lot of cool stuff.
But today he was here for Juice Newton's Love's Been a Little Bit Hard on Me. Juice Newton fan?
I have perfect recall of this song being popular.
Okay.
I do remember the whole previous album, like 1980, Queen of Hearts, Angel of the Morning.
That was a huge one. Yeah, that's
massive.
The banger. Yep.
And Juice Newton was not new. I mean, she'd been the front person of a band whose name escapes me at the moment, and then she'd been a solo artist. She had a hit with in 1977, It's a Heartache, and those kinds of things were keeping her like in a presence. But she'd also was one of those artists and it was really common in 1980 to 82, the country artists that would move back and forth between the country and pop charts. She was in the same group, not in the same like league necessarily, but like Dolly Parton, Kenny Rogers, Linda Ronstadt, like you said, they were adept at, many of them, like, Parton and Rogers obviously started in country and Ronstadt started in rock, Stone Pony and everything, but they'd cross back and forth on the charts and they'd put out songs like Lady or 9 to 5 or whatever that would be hits on both at the same time. So Juice Newton had a slot to comfortably belong to. And it's like she's a girl that played guitar and she sang and she could do pop and like they're a little bit country and a little bit rock and roll like the Osmonds. But so she was
right.
You could see her.
There's rockabilly stuff like country in this time we're not quite to the rhinestone stuff yet or the urban cowboy pop countries on the way, but like it's not like if you listen to some diehard country now is even something crazy different. It's probably more evolving back to this where it's like
just for anybody that's got passion interest in country music or wanting to see country music when it wasn't like all bro country or whatever, I really heartily recommend the Ken Burns documentary, which shows that there really is a lot of genre diversity within country, but it's been narrowed in the last few years. You'll hear a lot of the female stars that have become more prominent in the last couple of years talk about 5 years ago, women were having a really hard time break on the radio. And this was after the 90s and early 2000s that were completely dominated by Shania Twain, Faith Hill, etc. And it swung completely back the other way.
Yeah.
And so it's a very weird time. So if you look at these early 80s, there were a lot of female artists that were breaking in kind of like a pop country direction. They were moving back and forth, and Juice Newton doing, Angel of the Morning is so pervasive. It's showing up in trailers now for the
she's making there's some good royalties coming from that with it probably like Deadpool used it in its opening, and that's where the genesis of people having the idea of using it commercials showed up in Promising Young Woman. Like, so now it's because every so often there will be a pop song that's been gone for so long. Someone uses it in a catchy and almost brilliant fashion, and then everybody starts using it in things again. And it's like, find your own song. Like, I'm gonna attach it. Like, what's crazy though, Deadpool used it, great, and then I hear it in other places. I'm like, come on, Deadpool. But then Promising Young Woman, it took it back. It was like, I can take it now. I was like, okay,
yeah,
well played. But yeah, like there will be that pop song that comes back out of nowhere, and then everybody starts using it again. Like, get your own songs. Like, come on. Like, you are only using it because you went and saw the gigantic hit movie Deadpool, which everybody now will remember that from, and now you're copying it.
Yeah. Although, God, I'm drawing a blank on the name. The Amazon series with Josh Brolin, the kind of mystery sci-fi series.
Okay.
Range, not Open Range, but anyway, it has that at one point in the trailer, and they use it in kind of a clever way where one of the characters tells another character, don't sing that, and then it cuts to the guy singing it with like a bunch of supernatural kind of stuff happening and everything. And it's like, okay, that's kind of cool. That's, you know, if you're going to do it, at least make it different, right? At least kind of use the whole, you know, don't sing that song. But as far as this one, this song is really evocative of kind of like what a catchy songwriter she is, and just the elements of it are very classic pop song, but it's got just enough of the acoustic guitar and twangy stuff to qualify in early 80s country.
Yeah, and that's kind of what like a lot of her music was. It's like, I don't know if this is kind of, okay, well, there's where I would guess it would scoot to the genre for like 3 seconds, but yeah,
country on the elements, right? I mean, you know, the country had a really hard time of letting go of Taylor Swift, right? she was making pop songs straight up pretty early on, to the point where she was doing like country and pop mixes of songs that she could release to different music video networks.
They're like, this is Leanne Rams all over again. She gonna leave us. Because that's what every country fan sounds like, apparently, to me. Yeah. Well,
you know, what's kind of funny about that is like pandemic hits and Taylor's like, fuck it, I'm gonna go make Joni Mitchell records at my house.
Right.
And she's like, this is what I've always wanted to do anyway.
Yeah.
And so but with Juice Newton is, you know, she's still performing. She's 7 years old and she's still, you know, making songs. And she does other stuff. She's had like whole separate careers and everything involved in art and whatnot, but just the idea that, you know, kind of at any minute she's like, you know what, I'm gonna go play somewhere. She can do it. She's got that capacity.
Yeah. And I'd go see her play a small venue or something like that. It'd be real cool. This video, she does show some chops here with performing wise. She's she's got a charisma, a taste for comedy, like broad comedy. And I feel like this is almost Ace a parody of like a sitcom opening.
Yeah.
Like the camera movements, it's like when the guy pulls up, he's like you imagine his name there, and then it cuts to her in the window, like you could almost imagine her name going under there. It's perfect.
Yeah, and it's a great marriage of song and concept with, you know, it's an unexpected angle, but totally fits the song. You know, the idea love's been a little bit hard on me. Well, in this case, it's actual physical damage, and just like getting the physical comedy out of it and everything. It's like, this is a really clever idea, which now that we brought it up makes me think even more it's Nesmith.
No, yeah.
It is, but it is that there's the escalation of it. But what I think is also pretty funny is like, is that, you know, as they cut back and forth, because it's one of those videos that's got, here they are performing on a stage, and then here's the narrative, and it goes back and forth, but they start to bleed together when she's performing like on crutches and the band is laughing at her kind of in the background, like it's fun. It's never mean. It's never like, oh, she just got whacked in the face with the crutch. It's fun. It's funny in a way that she's allowing herself to be kind of the center of the joke, whereas you'd have maybe at this particular time a lot of artists like well into today, they're like more concerned about their image and being sexy first and everything.
Right.
She's treating the whole thing like a goof, and then you're allowed to have fun with it. And,
right.
You know,
there's clever little touches too, because between all the like the comedy scenes, the band's playing in an open area, whatever. And there's one point where she's playing, and you can see she's connected to like a little IV stand by her.
Yes.
And it's kind of like if you're not paying attention, you would miss it. It doesn't like call it out too much, but it's really neat to see they have that there.
Yeah, that's a great touch. And I don't think it was in any other shot, because, you know, when I was watching it a couple of times, I didn't notice the IV being used more than once.
No, it was a medium shot from the side of her, showing another band member with her, and I was like, what's that tower? I'm like, oh, it's an IV bag. I was like, that's great. Yeah, it's always the guy, her lover in the video, like injuring her too, which is funny. And they do corny couple things. There's one where they have matching Marty McFly vests on at one point.
Yeah.
And then when she goes the wheelchair down the hill, it's almost like Mac and Me. That would happen later in the decade. I was thinking that immediately.
Yeah. Yeah, that was totally my reference on that too. Maybe this inspired Mac and
I got it.
Good. Have you ever covered Mac and Me?
I haven't. No, okay. I'm saving it. It's like a back pocket thing because it is so.
Your retirement episode?
My retirement Mac and Me. Yeah, Mac and Me. Well, it's funny because like
guest star Paul Rudd.
It has to. He did that on the Conan podcast. That was brilliance.
He's next level. When he was on the final shows and with Bill Hader, and he did it not once but twice. Holy shit! Oh my god!
The way he can straight up sell something, and your mind leaves the thought that he might do it, is amazing.
Yeah, and then when he did Ant-Man, and he's like, "This is really important. I can't mess this up," and he just put Ant-Man in it. Like, God, like that dude. So yeah, but no,
a treasure.
Juice Newton, man, talk about acts that get overlooked.
Yeah,
as the history of, and you know, I'm not gonna put any heat on Cyndi Lauper for this because she's awesome, but and always has been. But there certainly was a swing toward the overtly sexy video in the mid 80s that, like, you know, Madonna and whatnot. And I feel like Juice Newton kind of got shoved out as this stuff was kind of happening. But there was an explosion of, holy shit, there were a lot of albums coming out in the early 80s.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of videos and a lot of things. And I think that, you know, whereas she might have had a leg up having been active in the late 70s and coming in and she's like more polished and like, I can make a video. And, you know, she already had hit songs and like a bicameral audience of, you know, a house of rock and a house of country. You know, she had a leg up, but then by the time that you've got, you know, the bigger stuff coming down, these artists that are dropping debut albums that are selling millions of copies of albums, and you know they're putting out 4, 5, 6 hit singles off the record. I think that she got crowded out in a way.
Well, there's a lot of debut albums that are just humongous and sophomore albums that just kind of struggle. But like, I mean, as they go on, they find, you know, Cyndi Lauper, Madonna around the same time, and then bring in Tiffany, bring in Debbie Gibson, you know, then but I think Juice Newton, I think nowadays, if to a lot of people you might be like, Juice Newton, they'd be like, who? And he but you know all the songs, it's a lot of them too. That's the thing, an eye opener for people. Be like, oh, this many. But
it's she had 11 top 40 hits.
A worthwhile greatest hits disc, you know, when there was actual as you go
that's the argument I always get into with people about Rick Springfield, who had 39 top 40 hits. The guy has the whole top 40 himself.
We just talked about Don't Talk to Strangers on a previous episode here, and I'm like, he was more than Jesse's Girl. Yes, he had one #1 hit, but Don't Talk to Strangers, if it wasn't for Ebony and Ivory, probably would have hit #1 for a week. But
I forget how many top 10s he had, but it was more than 2.
He had a lot of top 10s. He charted bit, like he started fading. You know, it wasn't till towards the end of the 80s that he started fading from the United States charting. He was still doing well. Corey Hart, another person that gets stuck with Sunglasses at Night. I'm like, Never Surrender.
Never Surrender is a tremendous song.
He's got, and Corey Hart had a lot of, it's just these guys, Gutenberg it when the 90s hit a lot of these acts in the 80s, and that'll happen.
Well, you know, it's weird. Rick Springfield, like at the very end of the 80s, Rock of Life is a big hit for him. And he starts making movies and stuff again. I mean, he was in the Battlestar Galactica pilot. He was in
he was on General Hospital for a long time, and he went back to it too.
And he was in the pilot for what became Forever Night. And I actually did a big article on Rick Springfield for the Post as well.
I remember that one. That was a good one. Yeah.
He liked it too. But the whole thing of
he'll be in town here.
Yeah, I've seen him twice. But yeah, the whole arc of Corey Hart actually left music for a while to raise his kid. Like his wife had a really good job. He could songwrite and produce stuff at home. He quit.
Yeah,
he quit. He's like, you know what? I'll stay home. I'll stay home with the kid. You go. I think she might have been a lawyer or something. She was doing really well. They lived in Canada. Health insurance wasn't a problem. He's like, I'll just.
Well, also, I mean, that's the story of our breakout star of summer of '82, Phoebe Cates. She's like, you know what?
Yeah.
Be a mom. That's what I want to do. Cool.
And you know what? Phoebe Cates is still a cultural reference. Season 3 of Stranger Things.
Yep.
Like, is she as hot as Phoebe Cates? Like, what a stellar, legacy as far as that.
She's
goes.
a legend, like a legend. I mean, and I haven't seen all her work, but if there's something I haven't, I'm like, curiosity bug, because
best monologue in Gremlins.
Mm-hmm.
And which one of you bitches is my mother? One of the greatest trashy TV video series of all time, Lace.
Yes. Oh man, yeah. We started this series starts with her movie Paradise, her first film, which is her Blue Lagoon, which is just wait for Fast Times, folks. That's all you gotta do in August. It's coming in August. But yeah, but this is Juice Newton, and I dug this one quite a bit. Song, it's fun. It
is. It's a good, solid pop song, and quite frankly, this is something that, if going back to Taylor Swift a minute, if Taylor Swift decided to do a straightforward, no changes cover of this song tomorrow, it'd be a number 1 hit.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to do anything to it except just be Taylor on it, and it would be number 1. And not just her, but on the countryside, Maren Morris, Miranda Lambert, Brandy Carlisle, anybody that wants to drop this song, that's they would any one of them would have a number 1 on their respective
Brandy
chart.
Carlisle would crush a Juice Newton do a Fish thing where when they play on Halloween and their Halloween costume is that they cover a whole album. Do that. Oh, Brandy Carlisle would crush it.
Yeah, she would.
I saw her she did Fleetwood Mac's A Chain. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
Holy
she does that with the Highwomen as well. Her band with Maren Morris, Natalie Hemby, and Amanda Shires, the 4 of them. Which have you ever seen that? The 4 of them?
No. I've only seen her with her band.
The harmonies will blow your head off.
Yeah, she's that's Brandy Carlisle's for another day because she is an amazing human. But yeah, so that's Juice Newton. Troy, thanks for your turn at bat. Checking in here for one of the music videos in the summer of '82 at 40. Till your next turn, let people know where you keep up with you.
Yes. Saturday Evening Post, of course. Troy Brownfield, or at Troy Brownfield at Twitter. You'll find me on Facebook, and you'll also currently find Sparkshooter, the music-based webcomic series that Brandon alluded to in the opening. The first 16 chapters are all parked at the Sparkshooter page at Facebook, Sparkshooter Comic, and the final 2 chapters are currently in production and will begin debuting later this year.
Sparkshooter Endgame.
That's right.
Oh man, that Saturday Evening Post article you dropped this week. Whew, what a doozy.
Yeah.
Killing June there, Troy. Killing it in June. All right. And I'm on Twitter and Instagram at Brandon4KUHD. Have a great weekend, everybody. Be back Monday for more Summer of '82 at 40. Till then, stay positive.
The summer of '82 at 40.
Thank you for listening. The Brandon Peters Show is a Creative Zombie Studios production. Produced by Brad Shoemaker and Brandon Peters. Written and edited by Brandon Peters. Announcer vocals by Jessica Alsman. Theme song by Metavari. Web design and show art by Brad Shoemaker with Brandon Peters. All music and clips featured in the episode are property of their respective studios, and no infringement is intended. The Summer of '82 at 40 and News of the Moment themes by Pres Maxson. Additional information on this and other episodes at thebrandonpetershow.com. For any inquiries, press opportunities, or sponsorship, contact mail@thebrandonpetershow.com. The show is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or anywhere podcasts are found.